Alright, so hopefully you liked the little radio announcer voice thing going on there. So, as stated, this is a late night stream. That's right, it is a late night stream, ladies and gentlemen, right here on your FM dial. That's right. Getting underway under the first song of the evening takes us to LaGuardia. That's right, LaGuardia. This is from ImagineSim. And so I'm trying to play a little bit of catch-up here. A lot of this stuff, I think actually all three of these airports that we're going to showcase tonight released before Flight SimCon. Just trying to remember. But tonight we're going to be taking a look at ImagineSim's LaGuardia, followed by Raleigh from LatinVFR, and then we're going to wrap up tonight's late night stream with Memphis from FSDT. And I think 2 out of 3 were released before Flight SimCon. So I'm playing a little bit of catch up, trying to get to some of these streams that I just didn't have time to do previously. And so the only time I have to do it is exactly at 12:33 a.m. in the morning, when everyone's already in bed. And now I finally have some time to take a look at these sceneries and, of course, showcase them for all of you who. Just a few of you tuning in live. The rest of you, I'm sure, will catch this via YouTube at some other point, which is what this will be uploaded to. So we are just now actually moving into the LaGuardia Airport coverage area. Just need to check my sound for prepared. Let's see here. See if we get a little bit of helicopter noise in here. Come off of slew mode. And hopefully I can manage not to start the stream with a crash. Just considering as I had 0 airspeed when I slewed this thing up and just started slewing forward. So let's see, can I get some airspeed here? Or am I just going to crash? Hope not. I think this thing's going down no matter what I do. We're going to start off this late night stream with a crash. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. On Air Daily X, this is how we like to do our streams. We like to crash. Alright, so that was like 0 forward speed there, so that's fine. Let me just check the audio here. Make sure you guys can hear that little helicopter there. Hopefully that's not too loud. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at LaGuardia. And let's go full screen. And this is actually one of those airports that I'm really excited to take a look at. Now I am going to have to make some changes to my my settings here because of course we are in the tri-state area. What cartoon was that? Phineas and Ferb? I'm going to take over the tri-state area. And as we all know, in this particular area, performance in VAS is a motherfucker. It's pretty rough over here. I think I have my AI traffic set to maximum. And I can tell you right now, that ain't going to last very long because that's going to kill the stream if I leave that running for too long with the broadcasting software running around in the background. And, of course, we did have that lovely little approach over Manhattan. And, of course, that's Jevitsky Design. And that's Manhattan X. And very, very wonderful rendition of Manhattan. They recently released, well, I wouldn't say recently. I think it's been at least 6 months now. Since they released that update, but they released a very lovely update, making the buildings much more realistic looking and less realish. And they've done Moscow City, and that's their most recent project, and we're going to be taking a look at that in a very near future live stream as well, and take a look at just how well their skills have gotten in terms of their city sceneries. So that's one that I'm also really looking forward to, and I hope that at some point they'll come back and do another update with Manhattan. There's a lot of skyscrapers, of course, that are now standing. that wasn't there at the time that that product was released. So I'd like to at least see them do an update for that and maybe enhance a few more of the buildings. In their most recent announcement, they showed off a few shots of Washington, D.C., and that's the next project that's expected for release. No time frame as yet, of course. So now let's go ahead and take a look at LaGuardia, now that we are here. And I was actually talking to Cal about the current status of the design of the airport. And without a doubt, I'll just tell you, he did a magnificent job with this airport. But unfortunately, what we are seeing here already isn't going to be the final design. I believe there were some issues with Delta. I think they initially stated that they were going to be, I guess, contributing to the cost of the development of the new airport, and then they backed out. And so when they backed out, they changed some of the designs, and then they came back and said, okay, we'll do it. And so then they changed the design back. I don't know what the hell's going on, but anyway, now that they are officially going to be, I guess, supporting the financial aspect of some of the development of LaGuardia, this is no longer the final design. So it'll be interesting to see when Cal may turn around and come back and do an update. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, an update may not be necessary, I think, until at the very least the project starts construction. And that way he doesn't waste his time doing another update, and then during, you know, before the construction begins, they change something else, and now he's just spending too much time working on this project that's already released and not busy delivering new projects. So that obviously makes a lot of sense, I think, for him to do. But definitely, I think once the development of the actual airport has begun, hopefully he'll go back and bring us an update later on. So you can see now performance is a bit rough, and that's to be expected. Again, we have the broadcasting software running, which allows me to broadcast to you live. We have 100% AI here. And you've got AI not only flying into JFK, LaGuardia here, of course, and Newark, but then you've got several other smaller airports nearby, such as Teterboro, so on and so forth. So you've probably got aircraft flying into as many as 10 airports within probably a 15-mile radius. So this is a huge, huge hit on the system. And just taking a look at my frame rates right now, believe it or not, and this is probably going to, you know, make you go crazy, but my frames per second right now was 59 frames per second, and I'm locked at unlimited. So we are seeing some heavy stutters. Those stutters, of course, separate from the actual frame rate. So the big stutters that we're seeing here is there's just a hell of a lot going on in this whole region in general, especially with 100% AI. JFK alone is a serious impact. Not to mention the other airports in the area. So with that said, I at least wanted you to be able to get a little bit of a look of the airfield with some AI here, so that you could just kind of see what it looks like busy. You can see all the AVCADs are in the right place, and the stuttering I know is going to start to hurt your eyes in a minute, so I'm gonna take down the AI here in just a moment. But at the very least, I just wanted to show what the airport looks like with AI on it, because I think it just looks really magnificent when it's full of airplanes. And even realistically, when I've flown in and out of here, I've only had my AI set to about 35, and it's not because of performance. I could get away with 75–80% AI even in this area. The problem is when you're on approach with LaGuardia, there's so many freaking airplanes here. That number one, you're not going to get a position to land, because there's always going to be an aircraft either taxiing onto the runway or taxiing off the runway or underneath your approach, or if you're on the ground and trying to get off the ground, traffic is lined up like around the block, and it's going to take you 6 weeks to get off the ground. So it's just done to keep the airplanes out of my damn way, more or less, not really for a performance issue. This hour of the night, though, we can see most of the aircraft are parked and not blocking the runways and taxiways and so on and so forth. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and set down here and adjust the AI. We need to take that down like a whole lot. I don't think I'll take it down to 0, because it's nice to be able to see just a little bit of AI here. But of course, we also want a nice smooth stream and not a freaking slideshow. So give me a moment while I just try to put this helicopter down through these like massive stutters here. All right. Ouch. Okay, there we go. Alright, screen's going to go blank for just a second while I make some adjustments here to the AI. Stand by. And for the 14 of you that's watching live at 12:30 in the morning, I do welcome aboard. This is really not a conducive time for anyone, I think, outside of like Australia and Japan for a live stream, to be honest, because most of Europe is just waking up and all of the US really should be in bed, more or less. Okay, let's head over to traffic and let's see if we can kill that airline AI traffic here. I did say I was going to keep some of it, didn't I? But I dragged it all the way to 0. And of course, if you're looking at that lovely sunset textures there, I am using PTA, which is the prepared Tweak Assistant, a P3D Tweak Assistant tool. It's a freeware. It is amazing. And I'm also using Eddie's texture, what is it, Sky Pack. Another terrific freeware as well. So if you're running what those two programs are, I encourage you to just head over to airdailyx.net, look at the sidebar where the ads are, and a little bit toward the bottom you'll find some freeware ads there. I'm trying to make freeware ads for certain things that I've covered in the past that I use on a regular basis. That's really, really good. And I might have covered it at some point, and then it gets buried, and as people utilize the website, they miss that stuff. So, and then I get a lot of emails like, what were your settings in your stream? So I try to make it a point to, as much as I can, as often as I can, to bring those things to light. And I thought, well, now maybe it's time to just leave it up there so people can kind of see that. So, and if you also ever want to know what my settings are, as far as recs and so on and so forth, just click on the systems page at airdailyx.net. And that information is there as well. Although I am due for an update, because I think I do need to put my PTA settings up there as well for those who use that. So it might be time for an update for that. Just taking a look at the night lighting here. We're starting off at night because I thought, since this is the late night stream, I thought, why not start off with a little bit of a sunset just to set the mood for this wonderful late Monday morning. And of course, we have to take a look at the night lighting anyway, so I thought, why not just start off at night to take a look at what the night lighting looks like. But even with the night textures, you can see the lighting. You have the nice volumetric lighting here. The ground textures are very crisp. And all of this really is just a testament to how far ImagineSim has come over the years. Now, I personally have been a fan of ImagineSim for a very, very long time. And I've always felt, at least back in the day, and we're going back to early, FS9 days or mid FS9 days, back to the, like, for example, like the old, was it, what airport was that? I'm drawing a blank. It is late. Well, another example would have been like their San Juan scenery. And I always felt that ImagineSim was always just had this inferiority to developers like Fly Tampa and Cloud9. And the thing with ImagineSim was that they were never really trying to be Fly Tampa or Cloud9 or SimWings. ImagineSim was really trying to hit a niche market to take care of airports that were in a significant demand that other developers were not considering, and delivering them at a much, much lower cost. And of course, that does come at, I think that did come at a little bit of a visual cost. What is that big light just floating right in the middle of the thing there? I guess that's from FTX. I guess FTX thinks there's a road there. So that might need an update. I don't know if it's FTX or if it's part of the Jevitsky scenery. That's a good question. But this might need an update, because you've got, these are some of the city lights that are kind of floating through the airport here. So that's not good. But yeah, ImagineSim, it didn't try to be something it wasn't, but what it did offer was airports that people really, really wanted, that had a decent level of quality for a very affordable price. And what ImagineSim has become now is I think they've really caught up to their competitors of years past, and yet they still offer their airports at very, very reasonable prices, and the quality has just been getting more and more significant as the years have gone by. Now, one of the airports I had not done a stream on was their latest rendition of Atlanta, and I wanted to do that tonight. And I went to install it, and then I realized that I don't have the version 3 of it for prepared version 3. So I thought, well, I better not do it because I don't know what anomalies might pop up, and I didn't want to discourage anyone. So I might still have to do that at a later date. But nevertheless, Atlanta won't be included here, but. Obviously, or at least what's obvious to me, is the big change with ImagineSim came with, is it Shanghai? That's where the big change just began in, even to this day, I think back on that project, and I just, the increase in quality was just like overnight, boom, like unbelievable. And I've been rooting for ImagineSim ever since that second version of ATL came out, and I continue to root for ImagineSim because I'm telling you, Cal and his team is just getting better and better and better, and LaGuardia is the most recent testament to just how far ImagineSim has come over the years. So now that we've more or less seen the night lighting, let's go ahead and take a look at this place during the day so we can get a little bit of a better look at some of the details here. And I've already got a couple of chats here in the comment section. Oh, Jordan King is there. Why is my helicopter leaning? How the hell did I land this thing? Hang on a second. Why am I in the ground? Holy crap. What's going on here? How did that happen? Oh, my gear wasn't down, huh? Dummy. Alright, there we go. I'm like, how the hell am I leaning in the ground? The gear's not down. A little shout out to Jordan King, who's also on my same time zone and states that he needs to get to bed, but the scenery looks nice. And good morning, Officer Kralke from Germany. And Sir TIPF says, ImagineSim thought about abandoning FSX and developing only for prepared. I think that there is a possibility that could happen in the next year and a half or so, depending on, what developments happen for prepared. I don't see FSX getting abandoned, though. I do see certain developers maybe considering not going out of their way to make their projects compatible with FSX if it already is at face value. But we are starting to see prepared accelerate from FSX at an alarming rate. So at some point, developers are going to get tired of making all of these double, triple, and quadruple installers, and at some point they're probably going to make a decision. But so far, FSX still has a pretty strong following, so I don't see any developers abandoning FSX anytime soon, just to respond to that comment. Okay, let me adjust the time here. Oops. Get some daylight going. Just a little bit. That's some decent daylight, I think. Move that out of the way. Okay, here we go. So now we can take a look at LaGuardia during the day. Now, one of the things that obviously is the first thing you'll notice about this airport is the transparent glass and internal modeling, which, of course, an airport like this that is mostly glass, as you can see, for those people who do complain, and it's rare now that you see people complaining about internal modeling. It used to be a big thing back in the day where people complain, oh, it's stupid and there's no point and blah, 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 and people have stopped doing that. But when you get an airport like this, I mean, that's mostly glass, where you have these gigantic glass walls, to not be able to see through them is kind of like, if it's one of those airports where the windows are fairly small, then that obviously would make a lot of sense. You don't necessarily have to be able to see through them as long as they have a nice reflection mapping and all that stuff. But something like this where it's just gigantic glass walls, it's nice to be able to pull up to the terminal and actually see things in a little bit more of a realistic fashion. The only thing, though, that these terminals are missing or lacking are people. And they don't necessarily have to be animated people, although that would be a nice feature. They are just lacking just static people. I mean, it's just such a ghost town in there. And so I guess if I were to I guess make any recommendation for this airport would be that for maybe ImagineSim to start maybe developing some static flow, some static people just in the terminals, just so that it looks like there's folks in there. That way you're not pulling up to just such an empty gate. But aside from that, I mean, everything here just looks absolutely spectacular. A lot of fun. Now, one of the things I'm going to have to do with this scenery, and one of the things that I did at the very beginning, was I whipped out the PMDG 777, because a lot of people were like, hell no, there's no way this thing is going to work out with a third-party airplane. As soon as you stick that in there, the frames are going to drop to 0. My frames are still at, what are my frames at right now? Actually, earlier when I said my frames were at 60, that wasn't my frames, that was my speed, I think. What are my frames? My frames are 44 frames per second right now. So I needed to clear that up. 46 is jumping. Okay, 52. Let's see. Is it going any higher than 52? So it's as high as 50. Oh, 54. So we're jumping as high as 54 and as low as 30 on the frames here. And of course, I would be getting higher frames, of course, if I wasn't streaming this live. So just a little bit of a reminder there. So when the scenery first came out, I whipped out the PMDG 777. And just kind of took a video from my iPhone and kind of put that up on Facebook. And that gave some folks, I think, some reasonable, I guess, feelings that this scenery would operate nicely. Just given the notion that everything would go to a crawl. But one of the things people complained about was, yeah, but you didn't take the video from the virtual cockpit. So that was a good point. So what I'll do is I'm not going to grab the 777, because the 777 doesn't really have a home. It's not really welcome here at LaGuardia. So what we'll do before moving on to Raleigh is we'll just whip out the Aerosoft A320, which is, I think, a reasonable airplane for LaGuardia, wouldn't you say? So we'll whip that out and take a look at performance. And here we're just making our way over Rikers Island. Now, none of this has been done, neither by Imagine nor Javietsky, which is rather odd, seeing as the island prison here, this should be a prison here, sits right underneath. You can see on there, you can see some of the prison there on the 2D photo imagery there. Sits right underneath the approach path of LaGuardia. So you would think that that would be something useful. Another thing I'm noting here, and I don't think this is in relation to the airport itself, but there are some autogen exclusion zones here, and I think that's attributed just to the Javietsky, New York City. So he's done different little patches of buildings here and there, like here's a patch of buildings, there's a patch of buildings, and then you have the Ford Autogen, and then you head over to Brooklyn, and there's more patches of buildings down there, so on and so forth. But overall, though, you can just look how populated that city is. It is incredible, and if you're interested in that project, I recommend you take a look at the live stream that I did for that. I believe that was earlier this year or late last year, or whenever that second version came out. Runs very well, and it's the best New York City scenery I think we've ever had, so definitely comes recommended. Now, the only thing I'm noticing here is double bridges, which I don't know if Cal added that bridge in there, or if it's Javietsky or default or what, but there is definitely a conflict here of double bridges, and I'm not really sure what the deal is behind that. I'm actually watching a show called The Night Of on HBO, and that takes place at Rikers Island. There's a nice shot of the vehicle driving over the bridge into the prison, and you've got the lovely control tower from LaGuardia in the background. Speaking of which, of course, ImagineSim did the first version of LaGuardia, and that came out a very, very long time ago. That very first version of LaGuardia, and I really loved it. My favorite sortie was going in FS9 between ImagineSim's LaGuardia and Green State. That was from Flight Zone. That was FZ01. Those guys hit 2 wonders and disappeared. I imagine if Flight Zone were still around today, they would probably be, or most likely be, the highest quality developers in the community. Just given the fact that when they released PDX all those years ago, that airport was light years ahead of its time, quality and performance-wise. They just sort of disappeared, and that's really unfortunate. I hate when developers disappear. Quality developers, anyway. Just taking a look here at the little ferry terminal here on the water. And you can see here, it looks like we have a nice billboard here of NYC. And just a note of this nice walkway footpath tile down here. Very nicely done. And taking a look at the car park as well. You have 3D car park, so you've got cars on multiple levels of the car park, which is a very nice touch. You can see those autogen exclusion zones in the immediate background, though, and I'm not sure if that's attributed to the airport or the New York City scenery. But it's not really that big a deal. I'm not going to make a fuss. And so if you're just tuning in, because I see that number is growing a little bit, even though this is an unusual time for a live stream, every now and then I like to do a little thing I call a late night stream. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I get up late at night, and I put on a little bit of a stream. And then I leave the bathroom, go downstairs, and do a live stream. So that's what's going on. So we're taking a look today at LaGuardia from ImagineSim. We'll be taking a look at Raleigh from LatinVFR. We'll be wrapping up tonight's late night stream at Memphis, which was an airport that I intended to do on the day it was released, and I even tried to do. But I was having so many issues with SODE, S-O-D-E, the Sim Object Display Engine, that I wound up having to give up on it, which I did. So I never did get that stream out, but I'll be able to do it tonight because I did a complete reinstall of Prepared and finally got that thing working, because I had a number of other programs that weren't working well as all, including a hardware review. I'm working on 2 hardware reviews right now, one of which the issues I was having, as it turns out, had nothing to do with the simulator I thought it did. The other one I think may have, but I haven't gone back to download the software again for the other item that I'm reviewing at the moment. So I'll be working on that this week, on both of them this week, and hopefully no issues. And just taking a look over here at the Delta terminal. I guess I could have put some AI down here. Let me see if I can wrangle up at least an airplane or two. Let me see. Screen's going to go blank for a second. Let me just see if I can get a couple of airplanes in here. Let's set this at 15%. See if any airplanes will populate in here. Just give a little something without sacrificing any performance. There we go. And Boyman was just asking what scenery this is, and I think I just answered that question not just a moment ago. Wow, even at 15%. Ouch. All right. I'll have to take that down a little bit. only 15%, and already the airport is like fully populated here. Let me try bringing that down a little bit more. Airports look so boring without AI traffic. That's why I take it down to 5%. Nope, that thing didn't even move. Let me just slew over here. Are the positions filled? Are you kidding me? That's 3%, and all these airplanes are still sitting there? Alright, so there's something wrong with my AI traffic, or at least at this airport, because it's either 100% or 0. Alright, so we're just going to go back to 0, because this is going to kill my performance. If we're only going to go to 100%. That's a lot of freaking AI. Alright, let me just turn back around here. So indeed, yes, a lot more will be happening at LaGuardia over the coming years. And like I said, hopefully as the actual airport development begins, because it's all been approved, it's all going to happen, then we can see ImagineSim come back and sort of reflect those real-world updates. Maybe a slight upgrade fee or something like that, which I think would definitely be reasonable. I really like how this whole landside area here in front of the terminal was done. Very impressed. Even the quality of the brick and the design on this building, I mean, this is just a testament to show just how far ImagineSim has come. Just looking at these textures, very, very nicely done. Just getting up there a little bit closer. And you can even read some of the writing even on the signs down here. Here you have the marine terminal, bar and restaurant, the toilets, and the subway and air train. And LGA hotel. And just quickly working our way back over to the... I don't know if that's supposed to be a fountain there, but if it is, I would have liked to have seen that water mass. I think that would have been nice. And Boyman is asking, how is this LGA? Well, that is for you to determine. You are seeing the live stream in real time so that you can make that determination on your own. I just run my mouth for hours because this would be very much more boring without it. So I've given some of my opinions, but it's ultimately for you to determine because you can kind of see it in real time. Taking a look at this parking garage here. So you do have some glass effect on there, multi-story car park. No cars on this one though, unlike the other one. I wonder why this one didn't get the automobile treatment. And here we are working our way up to the airport entrance. And here we have some airport signs. WestJet and Spirit and Southwest. And it was interesting, a lot of people pointing out the recent Sully preview, and I think someone mentioned, well, Southwest wasn't flying at LaGuardia when this incident happened. That's not realistic. So, yeah, one of the things I pointed out, well, half the skyscrapers that airplane is flying in between didn't exist then either, but who's counting? And there's a nice Delta billboard there. And the new air train that here's the track. I don't think there is an animated air train or even a static air train on these tracks. He did not include that, but I guess it sort of makes sense because I don't think we even know what the air train is going to even look like for LaGuardia. That design may not have been published yet, so that's probably why that does not exist here just yet. So plenty of ground support equipment, GSE, so on and so forth. And again, great ground textures. And we've already seen the night textures. So this pretty much wraps up this part of the stream. And I think, is that a water wall kind of creeping up on the side there? And for those of you who are not quite 100% ready for the new LaGuardia, you do still have the old ImagineSim option, or you do have a light version of LaGuardia from Jevitsky Design as well that's designed to be a little bit more compatible with his New York City scenery. I, however, going to stick with this. I do realize there is a lot of people that only want things as they are in real life, and so those are the options that you have should you choose to take one of those avenues. What is this thing sticking out here? Is that water? Holy crap, what is this? What? Where did this come from? Yikes. Okay, well there's an error of some sort. I'm wondering if this has to do with perhaps maybe not being at the top of FTX Global or something. Or the FTX scenery line. I don't know. That's just a water thing that's streaking right across there. Well, that's not good. Alright, I'll have to figure out what's going on there. I'll take some time to take a look at that. That was not one of the issues that I saw previously when I flew in and toured the scenery. That is new. I have not seen that before. So that I'm going to have to take a look at. You may not necessarily have that same issue. But nevertheless, here it is, folks. LaGuardia from ImagineSim on this late night stream. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and head over to the next destination, which is Raleigh. RDU. And just bear with me, screen might go blank for just a minute. You know, one of the things I just realized, I don't think I removed that big ass Air Daily X logo on the side of the screen. That's terrible. Get rid of that. This whole stream had that stupid thing on there. Yikes, I am so sorry. That was bad. Yikes, I did not realize that. I just went to take a look at the OBS and that thing was still there. That's terrible. Really sorry about that. And no one in the chat actually mentioned that. So hopefully it wasn't too big a deal then. And Boeing, yeah, you came in a little bit late, but yeah, I did address Atlanta. I don't have version 3, and that's why we're not taking a look at that today. I don't have version 3 of that. So I would need to get that update. I intended to show it off tonight, but then I looked at the installer that I had and saw it was still for version 2. And version 3, I think, came out I think in June or July or something like that. So because I'm doing this kind of at the spur of the moment, because now I have the free time to kind of get these streams out of the way and get caught up, I just didn't have time to hold this off and wait for to get that update. So I'll have to cover that in a later stream. And we'll have to keep an eye on VAS usage, because as I load up all these airports, I'm not sure how it's going to beat the heck out of VAS in memory. In fact, now might be a good time to clear some of that up while we load. Alright, so Raleigh is starting to load there in the background. And let's see if we can clear up some memory here. And just to give you guys an idea of what I'm looking at, let me go to my desktop so you guys can see that. And basically what I'm looking to do is clear up some memory here. And I've been using this program now for 10 years and I love it. So right now, 23.2 gigs available. We're going to defragment, clear out all of New York and LaGuardia out of the cache, and we've recovered 3.19 gigabytes. So that's significant. And now we can get back to business. Move that back over to prepared. There we go. Alright, so we are now on the ground here at RDU. And this is Raleigh-Durham. Is that North Carolina? And this is one of those airports as well that was released, I believe this was released last month. And hadn't had the time to get to this one yet. The big mega Norwegian live stream that I did last week, that was the one that took the precedence, because I had been putting off all of these I'd been putting off all of these live streams for all the Norway projects that were being released constantly. So it was time to hurry up and get that out of the way finally once Narvik was released. And so now I have the ability to come in and take a look at the American side of the pond and start showing off some of these wonderful airports as well. So now I welcome you to LatinVFR's Raleigh-Durham Airport. And I think the team has been working on this destination now for, gosh, I want to say it's probably been maybe 8-9 months now. And this has been out now, I think, for at least a month. Which marks another big release for LatinVFR. Just taking a look over here, I'm assuming this is a little GA area here. You see, we got some helicopters down here. Oh, wait, this is not a GA. This is oh, this is a National Guard station. We got some Apaches down here. Is that an Apache? Or is that a Cobra? Looks like an Apache. So this is the Air National Guard station here at Raleigh. And on this side of the ramp, you can see here, this is really mostly just sitting on top of photoreal. So you're not really bringing anything in over here unless you're flying a helicopter, and I assume probably few of you will be doing that. And let's work our way over and take a look at the terminal area. And Jexar TV is just joining in from Germany. Welcome aboard. I know it's still pretty early in Europe now. In Germany, I'm assuming off the top of my head, it's got to be, what, in probably 9 o'clock hour, something like that. And here we have the GA terminal area. Got a few statics lined up here, looking very nice. Nice textures on that wall there as well. Although the nose on this 737 looked like he's been beaten up a little bit. There we have some single engine Cessnas over there. And very nice looking ground textures. And looks like we even have an open hangar door over here. Let's take a look in there. Let's see, we've got some dark shadows in there, so probably not going to see much. No, not much going on in there. Here we have Landmark Aviation. Is Landmark Aviation still in business? I thought they went out of business. I might be wrong. Or got bought out or something like that, but I could be wrong. And here we have the very lovely FBO building here. I like that little sort of shade. You can park an aircraft right up under there and have some shade from the elements there. VIP parking. Very well done on the modeling and the texturing on this building. Almost looks like a church. Yeah, DC Air or TAC Air, TAC Air, as well as the GA parking area. Now this is something that's not very usual among larger airports, is having a very large GA area over here. Hence the smaller runway over there off to the left. And there's even a few open hangar doors as well. That's some private hangar parking facilities. Now, taking a look at the taxi bridge. You know, one of the things I just realized I forgot to do was whip out that A320 at LaGuardia. That's a problem with the late night streams. Sometimes I forget to do stuff. So I might have to go back and do that before we end the stream. And it is a 3D bridge, looks like. So there's probably traffic that might go down this road if I had traffic turned on, but that is a 3D bridge. Nicely done, as well as notating the custom vegetation as well. And it is the 10 o'clock hour in Germany. Thank you for that. And here we have the cargo parking area. And another what appears to be a GA hangar with another biz jet sitting out in front of it. Now let's go ahead and make our way back over to the terminals. Well, 26 people tuned in. I'm surprised. I really didn't expect. Usually when I do a late night stream, I only expect to be talking to myself. So nice to see a few people tuning in late at night, or at least late at night my time, of course. It's getting a little bit later in the morning for Europe. So for those who are probably supposed to be at their desk working and watching the stream instead. Another thing I'll point out about this airport is I'm really loving the way the landside area was done. Landside area looks very nice. We have a lot of these little FBO areas for GA parking here as well, I'm noting. And what is this little area over here? Is this a building or a... Oh, is this a spotters area? It looks like a spotters area, doesn't it? Maybe a little area for kids. That's very interesting, with little runways and little mini airport layout. I'm not sure if they're building something here or this is just a place for people to hang out, but that looks like a little spotters deck. If that's what that is, it's definitely something that's rare for the United States, because I don't know, for some reason the U.S. is so anal about spotting. They think you're going to blow up an airplane with your freaking DSLR, I guess. I have no freaking idea. But they see you out there with a camera and they start freaking out, like as if a camera is a weapon if you point it at an airplane these days. It's a bit ridiculous. Or in many cases, if they see you pointing that thing, they just want to make sure they get their cut of the money. As I recently learned, there are some airports out there, they don't mind. They will let you take pictures, but they want to get some money. They want to get paid. And they'll charge you whatever they'll charge 20th Century Fox to shoot a freaking movie, which can get a bit ridiculous as well. And of course, that can wreak havoc on developers' abilities to make an airport as realistic as possible when developing these sceneries. A lot of hangars here, and of course there's a couple of more taxi bridges. Again, the landside area looking very nice. Taking a look at the car parks here. Again, a nice three-dimensional car park as opposed to just something that's 2D with multi-levels on it. Just a few cars sitting on the top there, though. And one of the areas I'm going to point out, and this kind of takes me all the way back to LatinVFR's Caracas. And I wrote a review on that. And of course, that LatinVFR for Caracas, that was released a very long time ago. And as you can see here, one of the things that I had pointed out in Caracas was that the land side of the airport had been pretty much just neglected, like as if no one really cares about what goes on the other side. And there was just no attention anywhere on that side of the terminal, which to me kind of comes off as like a half-ass product, right? You get an airport, you kind of want the whole airport, and not just the part that you might see from the virtual flight deck sort of thing. So LatinVFR has come a long way in terms of stuff like that, and I really ripped them a new one when it came to that Caracas. Of course, we're talking probably, 5 years ago now? It was a long time ago. So he's definitely gotten a lot better, as you can see here, when it comes to doing the details on the land side of an airport. However, that said, I am seeing a little area here that's kind of bothering me, and I'm not sure if it's just that possibly it could be something wrong with my installation, or if that's how it was really done. But I'm taking a look at that terminal, the new terminal there, which also is the same architect that did Sacramento Airport. Is also the same architect that did the new international terminal at LAX. And I'm looking at this black here. This seems to be void of detail. And I'm just like, did I miss something here? Or why is there no detail here? Why is it just all black? There's no airline signs or anything there, and maybe there is not there in real life, but there's just no detail there at all. So that's just a little thing that I noticed there. Make our way over this little car park, take a look at the old terminal. And I'm not sure if this is still in use or not, or if this has been decommissioned. That's a very good question. Also really noting the new vegetation from LatinVFR as well. These trees are looking very nice. I imagine this is still in operation, this terminal. Looks like it is. Of course, I would have some aircraft here, but for some reason when I turn it to 1%, it goes to 100, and that just really brings everything to a halt. And judging by the GSE that I see here out in front of it, I'm assuming Southwest is the airline that makes use of this particular area. And there's Ross tuning in, asking me if it's bedtime. Well, is it bedtime now, or is it past bedtime by like 3 or 4 hours? Now, maybe this terminal here is no longer in use. This looks a little bit more like perhaps maybe this isn't in use anymore. This looks really old. Looks like some jet bridges have been removed. Texturing quality on it looks very nice, though. And some old rusty jet bridges all kind of congregated and lowered over here in the corner. You can also see that there hasn't been any real attention to ground detail over here as well. So you can see here, oh, there's a little fence there as well. There we go. I didn't see that earlier. So yes, this here little area here is fenced off. So that part of the terminal is definitely no longer in use. And judging by the cracking in my voice, it's time for some water. Time for a water break. We'll be right back after a message from our sponsors. Hello. Do you have erectile dysfunction? Well, so do I. Okay. So much for that commercial. All right, we're back. Let's go ahead and take a look at the new terminal, and we'll move over to some night lighting. And welcome to B-Boy JD10. Welcome to the Air Daily X live stream. Air Daily X live streams are a little bit different than you may be used to. Here we kind of showcase products that are available for purchase. Allows you to get a more in-depth idea of what a product has to offer that goes beyond what a product page will show you. And that's what we're doing here today. Today is the American stream. Last week was Norway. Today we're looking at America. And it's a triple play. We just left ImagineSim's LaGuardia. That was just released just before this product was, actually. Along with Javietsky's New York City, which took us at the top of the stream. And now we are taking a look at Raleigh. And after this, we'll be headed off to Memphis from FSDT. Taking a look now at the new terminal. And just looking at it texture-wise, I mean, obviously it's not your run-of-the-mill flight beam quality, but what it does have to offer is a very, very excellent rendition of this airport. And this is a very beautiful airport, by the way, and it's something that no other developer has really been putting any focus on. And it's very architecturally aesthetically pleasing to the eyes, and so very nice to see LatinVFR developing this airport. And again, if the architecture looks similar to that of Sacramento Airport, of course, released just a few months ago, that is because it is from the same architect. It might also look a little bit similar to the international terminal that you would find in FSDT zone LAX. And that's because all three of these terminals were from the same architect. So you can see they don't differentiate their works too much. A lot of it looks really the same. Now, one of the things I forgot to do at ImagineSim's LaGuardia was to jump in an airplane and taxi around a little bit. So let's grab the Aerosoft Airbus and do a quick taxi. I'm sure we want to take a look at those taxi bridges as well, don't we? I'm sure we like to run over one of those and see if our airplane sinks in. So I'm going to put us down on the taxiway here. We'll switch over to that aircraft. Oh, my gear is down the whole time. Yikes. We'll put our helicopter down here and switch over into the Airbus. Try to put it down like almost right on the center line, so that way when we pull up the Airbus, we'll already be sort of right on the center, which is where we need to be. Ooh, a little spark there. Oh, that was not a good landing, was it? Alright, let's switch aircraft and switch our time and season as well. Stand by. Screen might go dark for just a moment. According to prepared, we need to select a vehicle. They're still calling it vehicle. I know they use the term vehicles because it's more than just aircraft for prepared, but perhaps they should say select sim object instead of vehicle. It's like, yeah, we're going to jump in our A320 vehicle. A vehicle with wings. So, once again, ladies and gentlemen, just want to welcome you to the late night stream. And, of course, it's called a late night stream because it is 1:25 in the morning here on the U.S. West Coast. Just to the left of Los Angeles and just a quarter mile from the ocean. Okay, let's grab the Aerosoft A320. Where are you? Aerosoft. Alright, let's just type in A320 and see what comes up. I have way too many airplanes in here. Let's see, A320. preferably an American airline since we are in America. Lufthansa, Air Berlin. Damn it. Let's see. Oh, United, that'll work. Alright, let's jump in this jalopy real quick. I should probably activate my track IR too, so give me a minute to run that thing up. Oh, it's already running. Oh, well, look at that. For once, I'm actually ahead of myself. Okay. Alright, I guess I just need to put it on my head then, don't I? And let's see if adjusting the lighting the easy way is going to give us any trouble. What's going on here? Joystick for pause. And center. Okay. There we go. That's better. Alright, so we can... Whoa, what's that big-ass red light there? Is that from the airplane? Jeez, that's bright. Holy, why the hell is that so damn bright? Damn, that's bright. I don't think that's supposed to be that freaking bright. Jeez. Alright, that's maybe a little too dark. Alright, that'll work. Jeez, those lights are way too freaking bright. Alright. Okay, so let's go ahead and just taxi around a little bit. Let's turn off these landing lights. That's too bright. That's better. Okay. And let's just do a quick taxi around. This is what I meant to do at LaGuardia, so I'm probably going to have to go back there and do that really quickly before the end of the stream. A lot of people were concerned about performance. As far as being here in Raleigh with no AI traffic, in fact, let's turn on a few aircraft here just for kicks and giggles. Is probably going to run us back up to 100% again instead of the 15% that I just set it for, but at the very least it is in the tri-state area, so it's not going to drive us too crazy. And let's go ahead and run over one of these taxi bridges and see if we don't sink through the floor. And Raleigh also makes for a nice midway point between some of the Floridian airports down there, like Miami, Tampa, Orlando. If you're making your way up to New York or Boston, this should make a nice... Let's see. Oh, that's smooth. We just kind of floated right over that, didn't we? Not bad. This should make a nice midway stopover. So one of the things I always try to do is get out of that helicopter view and into an aircraft. That way we can see things how they're meant to be seen, because naturally, when you get your scenery, you're not going to be flying around it in a helicopter for an hour running your mouth. No, you're going to be in your airplane running your mouth. we got a few guys here hanging out at the bar. And frame rates 28, 29. And I guess we should find a gate to pull up to and try out the jet bridge animation. I guess we'll pull up next to this guy right here and pull onto this stand. Let me see, there's two markings there and I can't tell which is which, but I'll just pull right onto it, I guess. See what happens. Now I don't have anything to guide me in, so I don't even know if I'm on the center line or not. Let me just stop and make sure I am. Oh, a little left of center. Ooh, a little bouncy. Alright, let's see. Is it just regular Control J? There we go. And so we do have the Control J jet bridge animation here at Raleigh. And that looks good to me. Just don't mind those wheels sinking in the ground. Rumor has it that Oliver Papps from the guy behind AES is going to be, or is in the process of trying to work his AES project for Prepared. So we'll see how that goes. So anyway, the jet bridge docking there, far from perfect, but also far from static. So that's probably as good as it's going to get. And there's a jet bridge moving away from the aircraft. I think before we go to Memphis, let's go back to LaGuardia really quickly, because I said I was going to do it and I didn't do it. So let's go back over to LaGuardia and just do that really quickly. Let me kill the AI here. The AI is just like, ah. I said I was going to do it and I forgot. So before we go to Memphis and get onto a whole nother scenery, let's just do this really quickly. We'll see if I can manage to run out of memory here. Oh, you know what? Let me turn off traffic first before we even load all that traffic over there. Let's just turn traffic off. The funny thing is when I did that initial traffic test at LaGuardia, I was able to get really good frames with only having like 75% AI, but it just wants to go to 100%, and that's just too many planes for all those airports there. So unfortunately, I can't do this test until I can find out why it's all or nothing with the damn AI traffic. So apologies for that, but at least we're going to quickly taxi around the airport since I forgot to do that. All right. Heading back over to LaGuardia. And we are 1 hour and 10 minutes into tonight's late night live stream, and the plan is to wrap this up before we hit 2 hours, because YouTube will cut it off after 2 hours, and then this becomes two different videos, which I'd like to try to avoid. So hopefully I can cut this off before 2 hours. Also gonna give a shout out to a friend of mine, and he knows who he is. He's probably flying a 737, and this is not in Flight Simulator, this is in real life. He's probably flying a 737. He's probably leveled out at 37,500 feet, and he's probably watching an Air Daily X live stream on his iPad. So a quick shout out to he knows who he is, the captain. of this very reputable airline, 737 NG captain. He sends me pictures every now and then of like beautiful sunsets from the cockpit, and there's the iPad with an Air Daily X live stream on it, and I just I always go crazy over that. Like, that's how he passes the time while he's up there on those long hauls. So anyway, this should be very interesting when he goes to watch this one and he's up there flying and he's watching. It's like, holy crap, he's talking about me. That's right, I'm talking about you, my friend from down under, but not Australia. Ba-boom. Okay, so just loading up LaGuardia here. And Ross says we already have a GEX, no need for AES. I still think AES is a better program than GEX is in terms of its functionality. I find setting up an aircraft in GSX is a pain in the ass. It is a real pain in the ass trying to set up an airplane in GSX. And I also find that it's hard to get it to be as precise, like as far as where the jet bridges pull in and all that stuff that I can do with AES. And a good example of that was I was flying the CLS DC-10 in a group flight from recently from Phoenix to Denver. And when I got on stand at Denver, the damn stair truck parked where the cargo door is. You know, just stuff like that that GSX does that AES doesn't do. So, and considering the fact that I have probably $500 in AES credits, I'd like to put those to use again. So, nevertheless, and I find GSX to be buggy too. I mean, it's terrific though. It's better than AES in a lot of areas, but it's also inferior in a lot of areas too. And it would be nice to have AES again for some of the airports that has that offering. All right, so let's turn off that taxi light. Jeez, that's bright. Okay, so we went back to LaGuardia really quickly here. This is where we started off tonight's live stream. And I just wanted to do that just to kind of give you guys an idea of performance. So we're just going to do a quick taxi around, only that, but it also gives you an opportunity to kind of see the airport from the virtual flight deck perspective. And so I'm going to go ahead and do a takeoff from this runway, and then I'll just shut down both engines and put it down in the Hudson. Alright, so let's we'll just take this little quick turn off here, since I forgot to do this earlier. Oh, no, missed that turn off, going too fast. Let's go to the next one. I gotta find out why those damn lights are so bright. I've never noticed it that bright before for some reason. Okay, and we'll make this turn off here. Let's see, can I turn right here, then turn left? No, I think I need to turn left here. Some of those Manhattan buildings back there. And taking another look at these very lovely terminals done by ImagineSim. Very nice. Now I'll make the little left turn coming up here. As soon as I find that center line turning left. There it is. And I must say, very impressive airport. So once this stream is uploaded to YouTube, you can go back and look at some of my earlier comments, because this is where the stream started. And unfortunately, while we were also streaming this part of the airport, I had that gigantic AirDailyX logo covering the screen too, which I forgot to take away. So this hopefully will make up for that as well. Very unique design for this airport. Loving it. And as I mentioned earlier as well, now that Delta has finally decided to start ponying up some money to contribute to the design of the airport, there are, I think, some changes that are going to be published as well. And hopefully at some point later on down the line, Cal will go in and reflect those real-world changes. As it sits now, though, I don't think any construction has actually started yet. So at the very least, it's nice to have it now, especially considering the fact that it's such a good-looking airport, as opposed to what it looks like now, which is, as one person coined, a third world country. And I have to tell you, I've flown in and out of LaGuardia a couple of times. Well, I'm way off the damn line, aren't I? And oh my God, it is an S-hole. It is that was back during the AirTran days, and AirTran, of course, very good airline for its time, but oh my gosh, like I never like going in or out of LaGuardia because it's just such a crappy airport. All right, what gate am I going into? I'm going into this one. Look at them bright ass lights. I guess it would have been better to actually pull up to the terminal instead of this wall. Ew. Let me get off that. Let's go to another gate. Like, I'm like pulling up to like a wall. That's no fun. Yeah, let's go over to this gate. Come on. Move your slow butt. Alright, here we go. Let's go over to this one. This one I think is a little bit better. What's the point of having all that glass if you're not going to see it? I'm pretty sure I'm nowhere near the center line, but yeah, once again, just a little to the left. Just hanging a little to the left. Probably pulled up a little too far there, but that's okay. And do we have jet bridge animation here or what? Or does it use SODI? Hang on. I think ImagineSim uses SODI, right? Can anyone remind me what's the SODI menu? I'm trying to remember how to pull up SODI. Menu, here we go. No triggerable objects found. Did he not do jet bridge animation here? Crap, I don't know. Let's change positions here real quick. Why no jet bridge? Damn, is it not I don't see any movable jet bridges here. SODI says it doesn't have any commands, so yeah, I don't see. Alright, so I don't know. I thought this was supposed to have animated jet bridges. Let me just really quickly check the instruction manual here. Instruction manual, whatever it's called. Sorry, your screen's going to look kind of funky for a second here while I figure this out. I'm just really curious here. I thought this would have animated jet bridges. ImagineSim LaGuardia 2016 P3D. It does use SODI, but where's the manual? I 'll 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 ' And let me just switch really quickly to desktop view. And I've got everything checked here. High definition textures, performance. Da 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 da. AI. Other scenery add-ons. I don't see anything about jet bridges, so I need to confirm that. I need to confirm the deal with the jet bridges. So, but it's not responding on behalf of default jetways. The Control J sequence isn't working here. So we did see it working at Raleigh, so we know they work. They just don't seem to be working here. So, the only other thing I can think of, let's just move to another terminal really quickly. This will be my last ditch effort. But I thought that the jet bridges here would be working. So, a little confused about that. I know with some developers, some jet bridges will work and some don't, and you got to check to see which ones will and which ones won't. But in this case, it looks like none of them are working. So yeah, I've got no moving jetways. So that's a bummer. All right, let's go ahead and head over to Memphis now because I'm running low on time. So, other than that, that's really the only downside that I have to point out for LaGuardia. I mean, other than the fact that I just thought that a nice addition would be maybe static people inside those lovely large glass walls, so it doesn't look so empty. But I love all the detail there and the like the Delta logos. You have all the logos depending on which terminal you're sitting at. So you have American and Spirit and Southwest and so on and so forth. And very nice. Just need some people in there. All right, so let's go ahead and head over to Memphis. So a little disappointed about the jet bridges there. I have to find out what happened. I got to figure that part out. Oh, and Con 16 says they are not movable. Okay, well that sucks. That's kind of a letdown. I'll have to check with Kyle and see what the deal was with that. I mean, at the very least, it's nice to at least be able to use the default flight simulator Control J, even though it's far from perfect. It's still better than not having a moving jet bridge at all, to be absolutely honest. And while we wait for this to load, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at some comments on Air Daily X. Quite a few comments. And if you missed it, Dubrovnik was actually just released a few hours ago. So for you Orbix fans and for you fans of looking for airports in Eastern Europe and the Balkans region, definitely check it out. It is awesome. – 69% loaded. Now with Memphis here, this takes a while to get this thing fully loaded up, so Give it a second. Every time we start up with these like textures going crazy and wacky, and that's because once it's there, it still needs time to load. So let's give it a minute. And now up to 42 viewers. It still is a late night stream, at least for me. It's about 10 minutes, 11 minutes, or 9 minutes rather, to 2 o'clock in the morning here on the West Coast. And so nice to see quite a few people have tuned in. And if you're just joining us, this is the let me do my radio voice. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Just want to welcome you on board to the late night Air Daily Extreme. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We got started with the evening with a look at ImagineSim LGA. Then we headed over to Raleigh. That's from LatinVFR. And now we're taking a look at Memphis. And that's coming at you live from FS3D. That screwed up. So now we're supposed to be taking a look at Memphis, but what the hell is going on? Maybe I maxed out on memory or something, because this looks terrible. No, it's done loading. It's literally done loading. So what the hell is going on here? Yikes. Now is probably a good time to just restart the simulator altogether. I think I'm just going to do that. Let's just clear this bad boy out. We went to LaGuardia, then we went to Raleigh, then we went back to LaGuardia, then we loaded a couple of aircraft already. So let's just clean it out. Let's just be on the safe side. Let's just clean it out and restart prepared. Oh, did I kill Active Sky? Oh no, Active Sky is still running. Alright, so you're going to look at your blank screen there for just a minute. That way at least you guys know there's something going on here in the background. Oh, and Sir TIPF says the jetways are movable. Files are in the installation folder. Let me take a look in that folder. Oops, didn't mean to click that. I don't know. I seem to have missed it when I poured through the manual there just now. But let's see, ImagineSim. Config. That's a config tool. 3D glass vehicle. So I'm wondering why not just put that in the config tool if it's supposed to be edge lights, fencing, grass, terminal, part cars. Those are the options, obviously. Scenery. What is scenery FS? ADE, altitude BGL, SODI, sim objects, and texture files. I don't see that in here anywhere, so I'll have to take some time and look into that. But so far I wasn't able to get them to move, so I'll need to look a little bit further. But as far as the manual is concerned, the manual does it address that? Let me read through this manual one more time while we load up prepared here, because I missed it. Product features, I guess it'd be page 2. Installation. Okay, support, product features. Runways, high resolution buildings, and interactive docking system. Did I miss that as well? Taxiways, highly realistic concrete textures, full texture taxiway, runway signage, 3D approach lightings for full ILS navigation. There are hundreds of airport vehicles, blah, 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 blah. Perimeter fence, security checkpoints, all under the gaze of intermittently placed security cameras. In addition, looks stunning after dark. Assessing, you can take a look at. Click blah, 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 because you may find scenery takes longer to load. Airport information. Chart. Performance. There's the first yawn. Better get this over with. Performance optimization. Suggested settings. Our favorite setup. Aircraft slider at 50%. What is this software about? Is there a trial demo? Yes. How can I purchase it? Is there a CD instead? Yes. How do I install it into prepared? What if I want to install it later? Then just go and install it later, dummy. No, I'm kidding. I have started P3D. What now? You grab an airplane and you go fly. I don't see anything about jet bridges. Make it run smoother. Where are the parked aircraft? Do jetways. The jetways provided with the airport are non-functioning and remain motionless. So there it is. I missed that. So the question is why? I have to ask about that. I got to find out what that's about, or why he doesn't go with Control J. So I'll look into that. But there's the answer to our question. All right, let's get rid of that big logo again and grab my trusty helicopter. Or maybe, you know what, maybe I'll grab something else. No, there's no, Ross, there's no BGL file or anything. It's pretty clear. They're static. So we did find that in there. All right, so let's head over to Memphis. And I think I'll start off this part of the stream from the virtual cockpit, since I forgot that the first time around, and I'll remember that this time around. Let's see. So we got about a little more than 30 minutes before I have to shut all this down and get some shut-eye, as we're now just 2 minutes from 2 a.m. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Just a couple of minutes from 2 a.m. here on the West Coast. Want to thank you all for tuning in to this Air Daily X live stream. That's right, it is the late night show, and as we always like to do it at this time of the morning, is give you a nice and deep, sexy voice. And I'm talking to all guys, so this is not too. All right, I'm done. Just load up this last airport. Now, as it relates to the Sim Object Display Engine, you've got one of two kinds of people. People who either love it and people who hate it. Well, then there's just me that's kind of in the middle, and I'm kind of indifferent on both ends, where I love it in some cases and I hate it in other cases. I love it when it works, and then I hate it the rest of the time when it's not working. And if you've caught the last few live streams that I did for airports that required SODI, the damn thing just, it wouldn't work. I mean, I had the latest version installed, the menus wouldn't come up, and so it was a real pain in the ass. And more developers are developing their airports relying on this SODI technology, and when it doesn't work, it's a real pain in the freaking ass. So whenever I see someone complain like, oh, thank God it doesn't contain SODI, like I can kind of relate to that. Because what wound up happening is I had to just reinstall my prepared from scratch in order to finally get this working. So that's a real pain in the ass. That's pretty much all there is to say to it. When it works, it's great, but when it doesn't work, it's a pain. So now only with having reinstall prepared did I finally get it working the way it's supposed to be working. So we can finally make some use of that. Still waiting for the scenery to load. Now, last time everything was black. There we go. Now we have some textures here. No, not fully. It's still loading. It is still loading. Okay, let's just wait. Let me see. I have some other screens I need to close. Okay, now it looks like it's here. So anyway, when I set out to... I was able to at least get away with using some of the extra features and some of the other products that I was showing off in those particular live streams. But in the case of FSDT's Memphis, it relies, a lot of the new features rely so heavily on SODI that the airport is pretty much not useful at all unless you have it working properly, which I didn't. So now that it is, need to activate FSU IPC. So now that it is, we can now take a look at what I didn't get to show off at the beginning of, or before the start of Flight SimCon. All right, that should be good enough. Let's start off by taxiing around the airport. Oh, is the engine's not ready? Oh, son of a bitch. There's Control E, baby. I'm not taking time. And what better aircraft to show off this airport than in a FedEx DC-10, of course. Memphis being the home to FedEx, so might as well show it off in a DC-10. And I'm a huge fan of the DC-10, actually. It was my very, very first wide body. Grabbed one of these bad boys from American Airlines on a flight from Chicago, from O'Hare to Los Angeles. That was American Airlines back in 1993. And if I remember correctly, I think I was about 12 years old, I think, at the time. And that was my first time on a wide-body airliner, and man, was I impressed with the DC-10. And as a matter of fact, just to show you how long ago that was, the movie that they played on the screen that was half a mile away down the cabin there was The Fugitive with Harrison Ford. So, just leaving Chicago, and there's The Fugitive playing on the screen all the way down there on the screen, on the projector screen. And I was too short to be able to see over the seats, and the screen was too far away, so all I could really do was plug in my earphones into the armrest there and just listen because the screen was too far away. And I remember that flight very vividly, and I remember the food they served, because back then it wasn't purchased on board. Back then, airlines served food on domestic flights, and it was free, but it was also shit. And it was like some really disgusting cold chicken and rice, and it was like the worst meal I ever had in my life. That cold chicken was gross. Alright, so hopefully the engines have started. And we can taxi around. Here we are, runway 36. Now, as it relates to FS Stream Team, many of you may or may not be aware, but I was not impressed with Houston at all. I was not impressed with Houston at all. So, what I can say about Memphis here is FSDT has definitely redeemed themselves quality-wise. The airport here is magnificent. They've done an incredible job here. It takes a pain-in-the-ass long time to load, though, as you can see. On a fresh startup of Prepared, you can see how long it took to load the scenery. So you can just imagine how that must be when you've taken off out of Atlanta or wherever you're going to come visit here from. When you approach the scenery, the scenery is going to stop. It's going to pause, and it's going to take time to load all of that stuff up. So if it took this long just on a fresh install, it should give you an idea of how long it's going to take. Ooh, what is with these stutters? Easy, puppy. Let's take a look at the frame rates. Again, I am using OBS, so that does take a little bit out of it. I'm getting... Well, without these fucking pauses. The reason why it's pausing is because I guess scenery elements must still be loading. I'm not sure what's up with that. Matter of fact, let me park my DC-10 up to one of these gates just to take a look. What is with the pauses? Damn, those are some serious stutters. I did some flights here already, and I did not... Oh, you know what? I know what the problem is. Ha ha ha! I know what the problem is. I figured this out. I don't know if you're going to be able to see the SOTI menus from your screen, so I'm just going to go to my desktop mode so you can see this. So let me pull up SOTI, because I found a few people were having this problem with the pauses and stutters. SOTI is F11. Is it the SOTI? It's not the SOTI menu, but it's like the GSX menu. The parking brake. There it is. So what we need to do is... No, that's weather requests. AS16, close window. Nope, I don't want that. Where's the damn GSX menu? Come on. Stop fooling around. Is it F10 control or shift F10 or some shit like that? Oh, here we go. See, this was a problem that I had before. None of this crap worked. The AS16 weather menu's coming up. You know what? I'm wondering if the... you know what I think is happening? close the damn window. What I think is happening is I think ActiveSky might be conflicting with the FSDT control window. That's a sim object display window. All right, you gotta be kidding me with this crap. See, now it's not working, and this is what I'm talking about with all this technologies and stuff that they put in the scenery. Now the menu isn't coming up. Now I had this thing working perfectly fine before, and now it's not working at all. It is Control F12. That's what I was hitting. And the menu's not coming up at all now. Let me go back to full screen and see if it comes on. Nope, it doesn't come on. I don't get it. I really don't get it with this stuff. And I really complained pretty hard about this because it's like it's great to see all these lovely technologies and stuff that developers are adding in their products and stuff, but if it gets to the point where half the time the shit ain't gonna work, then it's like there's just no point in having it at all. I'm gonna assume that maybe the reason is because it's underneath maybe it needs to be at the top of the scenery library. I don't know. I literally was flying this earlier today and it was working just fine, and I hadn't installed anything since, and the menu worked, everything worked. I was able to test everything out, and once again, no, it's not working. So if it's not going to work, I'm just going to terminate the stream because I don't want to do a half-ass preview of something. But this thing is just really random. So let's just move it to the top of the scenery library and hope it works. I don't know. Maybe I need to update that standalone installer thing. This is frustrating. All right, let's do this standalone add-on manager here. Okay, and Cons is saying that they may add animated jet bridges later for the ImagineSim scenery. Apparently that was the case with Atlanta, and then they went on and updated it later on, so maybe that's the reason. So cool, okay, well, we'll stand by for those animated jet bridges for LaGuardia. Thank you for that. And to Ross, that's the CLS DC-10 version 2. And you can get that from Just Flight. It's a cool little plane. It's not fully modeled by any means, but it's a fun, sort of just easy to use VOR. You can plug in VORs and kind of fly around and enjoy it, and that's kind of how I use it. It's nice using VOR navigation in heavy aircraft anyway. I don't think the little... It does have a little FMS thing there, but it ain't really. So... you could just use a VOR in order to navigate with it because there's no GPS or anything, no magenta line. So yeah, you can do that. Actually, I think there might be a GPS added to it though. But anyway, all right. So the damn menu isn't coming up. So I'm gonna give Umberto and friends the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to run the standalone add-on manager and once again go to the trouble of relaunching Flight Simulator. We're getting close to running out of time here. I've got 15 minutes to try to make this happen. I don't know why it takes P3D so long to end. Jeez. So we're going to try this one more time because once we hit the 2-hour mark, it gets cut off on YouTube. So let's see if this is the issue. I've got like... Yeah, let me see, 15 minutes, going to take 5 minutes to launch prepared and set up the scenario again. And ZeoWing noting too, yeah, when you have all this new tech, all this stuff running around. So I don't know why it worked and now it's not working. usually when the FSDT stuff doesn't work, I just have to run this thing again, and usually the stuff works. But it's a pain having to constantly run this thing. Anyway, because it's like you never know when you're going to have a problem. And Ross, you know, it's funny that you mentioned the OOM. I didn't have any issues on my flight from Phoenix to Denver, but I did run out of memory on my flight from Phoenix to San Francisco, but I never even got close. Like the second I got to the southern tip of current AFCADs, I don't think I need that. The second I got to the southern tip of the Silicon Valley area, whatever that area is, it OOM'd on me, and it was interesting because I was looking at my memory and it was pretty low, and I wasn't monitoring VAS though, and you know, it's funny because I've never had that issue before, and so I wondered if the issue was maybe attributed to the aircraft. So, but I didn't get it at Denver. In Denver, there's not a whole lot going on at Denver, but I digress. I'll have to try it again with another aircraft to make sure to narrow down if the issue was the aircraft or not. And Ross, you say you can't go 10 minutes without OOMing. Well, we'll definitely go more than 10 minutes, and we won't have an OOM, I'm sure. But we'll just be taxiing around the airport with it. It's a nice fit given all the FedEx stuff, and in fact, I'll have to turn on the AI just so we can see all the FedEx airplanes. We'll see how much it kills performance though with running the broadcasting software here. Let's see. So we've got oh damn, like 12 minutes. I don't think we're gonna make it. In fact, you know what? I think Memphis is gonna have to be a separate stream. Let me do that. Let's just make Memphis a separate stream. That's the easy way to go. That way I don't have to cut this off if it works. So I'm just going to stop the stream. That way I can do this in 2 separate streams. And then I'll restart. So for the 30 people who are still hanging around, don't go anywhere. I'm going to stop and restart. And you can watch me do that right now.